And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the show. I didn't do a show last week because when I get that off the screen, take that off. The smash of the like button. By the way, I don't care if you're a lurker. I don't care if you're a fed. I don't care if you're a stream sniper. Smash up the like button. Do it now. You know you want to do it. It is your moral obligation to smash the like button. Because if you don't smash the like button, who will? I'll have to go. I'll have to go leave the fucking stream and do it myself, and that's just sad. Anyway, I was not here last week because I was on a journey. I was journeying. Usually, I just drive from place to place. Like yesterday, I drove down to Dulles. That's just a job. I have to go there. That's not a journey. A journey is someplace you go where you don't have to go. And so I journeyed, and I took a journey. And anyway, I was in Greece. I booked a trip to Greece, and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I just, for whatever, give me a cheap hotel, give me airline tickets. I had a passport. I have money. I packed a bag, and then I got on a fucking plane, and I went over there. And so I had like a little adventure. So I'm trying not to be like super boring. Trying to be super boring with the holiday snaps. Try not to. What is that? Slides. What the fuck is that now? What did they go and do stupid shit for? Why would you fucking do that? Slide sharing tips. Don't show these tips. I don't. Okay. Why can't I just go back to the old fucking? Yeah, let's go back to the old way. Let's go to the way we were doing it 2 weeks ago, before everything changed, before the world changed. I was on a journey. Did I mention I was journeying? I was learning and growing, learning things and growing in ways that I didn't expect to grow, and whatever fucking bullshit. So anyway, that's a picture of me underneath the big Greek flag in the Acropolis, because there's a big, really, really big fucking Greek flag up there. And one of the less sucky pictures I took. I'm not the world's greatest photographer. I'm not the world's greatest selfie photographer. But anyway, you got to take some pictures there, because what the fuck? What is the point if you do not if you don't take some pictures? They love their fucking flag over there. That's like rednecks with the American flag in the United States. There's fucking Greek flags like everywhere, even in Athens, which is like their New York, which is a funny city. It's a complete fucking mess. At least the part that I was staying in. The traffic is insane. People riding the wrong way on two-way roads, parking on the sidewalk, riding scooters on the sidewalk, motorcycles everywhere. A lot of chaos. I didn't mind too much being from New York City, but it was like New York on steroids, with everybody speaking a foreign language and all the vehicles being smaller. But fun time. I was there for 10 days, and I had some bad intel. I didn't have the best understanding of what I should be doing and how I should be doing stuff. But I knew I needed internet. So, and some online in the research I was doing, people said, just go there, buy a SIM card for your phone, swap out the SIM card. You pay a flat rate, and but don't get the ones at the airport because they're expensive. Go to the middle of nowhere, not the middle of nowhere. Go find a little phone store. So I did that the first night. And I was like worried I wasn't going to have internet. I was like, I got to have internet to do this, because I don't know where the fuck I am or what I'm doing. And so I went to some Indian dude who spoke the best English of anyone of anyone in the country. He spoke like the Queen's English. This was, I think, before the Queen died. Anyway, I get this chip, and they start up the phone, even though the girl doesn't know how to work an Android phone because she's an iPhone chick, whatever. I get internet. I was like, okay, let me see if I can have Google Maps take me to this place where I want to go get some food. and which was not far away. So I did that, and it worked great. The first night, it worked fucking absolutely great, and I thought, man, I fucking got this. This is going to be spectacular. I got, I can navigate by GPS. Every place I want to go, I've already had saved in Google, and this is going to be great. And then Google fucking shit the bed every fucking day after that. It just fucking wouldn't work, wouldn't take me where I wanted to go, constantly got me fucking lost. The things I would fucking kill everyone at Google Maps. I would fucking kill them, and then I would go kill people who look like them. That's how much they fucking pissed me off. But only if it's legal. If it's not legal to kill people, then I wouldn't do it. So anyway, I was there. I had a pretty good time. Food was pretty good. Everyone was nice. I actually spoke Greek and was understood reasonably well, although you get by with English. And I pretty much went everywhere I wanted to go and saw everything I wanted to see, which was a big deal to me. For me, it was a big deal because why is it a big deal? Because I thought it was a big deal. Other people probably don't give a fuck, and I understand. But where's the? Yeah, well, let's do that. One of the things I did, one of the ways I grew and learned as I was learning and growing in my Euro trip is one, I booked the fucking hotel wrong. I booked it for the day I left Newark Airport, not the day I landed in Athens. And I tried to change the booking to take one day off, and they said, no, you can't do that. You have to rebook the whole thing. And if you rebook the whole thing, it's going to cost you the same as it's going to cost for the entire fucking 10 days, like the penalty to change the booking. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'll just eat. I'll just like lose a day, whatever. Not that big of a deal. Fucking hotel was like $30 a night. You know what I mean? I was staying in the crunchy part of Athens. I was not staying in the beautiful touristy part. I was in the mean streets of Europe's oldest city. So I get to the hotel on Monday, even though I said it was going to be there Sunday. But since I didn't check in Sunday, I didn't send them an email. They thought I canceled. And they're like, well, we thought you canceled. I'm like, well, I fucking prepaid, so find me a room. And they're like, oh, we don't have a room. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want to hear, bro. And they didn't have a room in that hotel, but luckily they own two hotels, and the other one was like, for whatever, 2 blocks away, 3 blocks away. So I go to the other one, and they're like, well, the only room we have is like a big room for 4 people. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I need a fucking room. And, just give me a room. They're like, oh, it has a balcony. I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. It's got a balcony. And the woman says, you can see the Acropolis from the balcony. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take that. So this is a picture of the fucking balcony. This room was like fucking actually big. Was pretty fun. Although the elevator was like a one per elevator. So I had to go up to the 5th floor. This one person elevator looked like it's like the size of a dumbwaiter. You know what I mean? It's not even like a real fucking, it was like a whole Euro trip. This whole thing was pretty funny. It was a whole Euro trip. But look at the size of that fucking balcony, bro. Like, that's crazy how big that was. This was $30 a night. You know what I mean? And the black object you see in the middle of the screen, I couldn't bring weights to exercise, but I brought resistance bands, those rubber, heavy-duty rubber resistance bands, and that particular pair has handles on it. So I was using that on the railing of the balcony to do my workouts in the morning. But that thing is fucking, I don't know what the length of it is, but you can see there's a chair and a table, and I'm sitting in another chair in the corner of the balcony, like looking at how big this was. This was some one of the mornings I was there. And then what did this other way look like? I don't want to be like super boring with the fucking with the holiday pictures, but I have to prove I was there as I was growing and learning and whatever. So learning, I don't know how to fucking book hotels, and I don't know a bunch of dumb shit because what the fuck? I'd never done it before. I wasn't even sure if I could get out of the country. To be honest, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I just showed up at Newark early, and I flew out on Emirates, really good airline. I would absolutely recommend them. And then that's the view the other way at night. There was another down to the left. There was some funky hotel. You can see it's all purple and stuff, and it looked cooler. And it was a nicer hotel than the one I was staying in, but did not have a balcony, and you could see I was up above them. Judas Fly Chai, the based Persian Michelin guy. Shalom, shalom, Judas Fly Chai. Welcome to the show. Joining us already in progress. Holiday snaps, holiday photos. I was in Greece. If you probably know, you follow me on Twitter. So that was the view at night, looking whatever to the left from the balcony of my $30 a night hotel, and I was surprised. And I was there for they gave me that upgrade for 4 nights, and then they're like, "Well, listen, we have a whole bunch of people coming in. We have to put you in a different room." I'm like, but at that point, I didn't care. You could see the Acropolis from that balcony. That was pretty cool at night. That was actually, except my camera didn't quite pick it up. And then what else? Where else did I go? I went to a bunch of places. I went to Delphi. I went to Mount Olympus. I went a bunch of different. I didn't just stay in Athens, but I went to see all the museums, and of course, the Acropolis is a day itself. You got to do that early in the morning. The best thing to do, because there are 5 million tourists a year that go to the Acropolis. I don't know, Judas Fly Chai, how many tourists go to the Wailing Wall. I'm guessing the number's somewhere south of 5 million. That would be my guess. But anyway, there's a ton of people there, and you should get there. If you're gonna go there, go first thing in the fucking morning. Get your tickets, boom, just get up there, and so you could have some time to walk around and explore and take pictures and not have a million jerks around. There were Instagram people, girls with that fucking weird bubble butt body modification and a phone with a selfie stick, and they're walking around the Acropolis and shit. And I'm like, and they have their director friend telling them where to walk and clearing stuff. It's so fucking weird. I'm like, I don't. Maybe there was somebody famous on Instagram, but I was like, is that one of the Kardashians or something? I don't know who the fuck it was. But there's a ton of fucking weirdos. There's a ton of whack jobs. But I had so that was that. And that was, what am I looking at now? This was a shot. Oh yeah, this was in Delphi. I hope this whole picture comes up, because I did one of those fucking panorama things. I really liked the view of it. This is near a place called Mount Parnassus, which was a big deal. A big deal in the ancient world as a holy site. Hopefully the whole big picture will come up and it'll look cool. So that's good. It's a pretty good panorama view. So that's the landscape. If you were at the Temple at Delphi and you were going to ask questions like, "Hey, how do we beat that Persian army, bro?" Or who's going to be the next king of Lydia? Or I don't know. I don't know. Whatever questions you would ask. So that's it's a real pretty landscape. You're up in the mountains. A lot of nice people. I met a couple of other solo travelers that were females. One was a German girl who I thought was American because she learned to speak English in South Dakota when she was a teenager. North Dakota. She did some kind of exchange program. And when you would talk to her, she sounded more American than I do, more like middle America than I do. But she was from Germany, and she was young. She was 19. Then there was a Mexican chick who was maybe late 20s, who would come out there, and she was also a solo traveler. So, and they were asking me to take pictures of them and stuff. Not that they weren't really flirting with me or anything like that. It's just, you know how females are. Like they gotta have the selfie of them in front of the thing. Like they can't take a picture like this that shows you like the landscape and the vibe, and you know that they have to show themselves in the middle of that picture because or else there's no context, right? But so that's actually a pretty good Delphi picture. And unfortunately, there was one tour I took, and I didn't want to like rent a car or anything like that. I didn't want to drive anywhere. I'm like, I fucking drive for a fucking living. Why should I drive in a foreign country, even though they drive on the same side of the road? Um, so I booked these tours. I made a bunch of mistakes. I was growing as a person. Here's how I grew as a person. I took like €1,000 with me over there. I got the euro here in the U.S. Got it from my bank. I only spent like half of it. Most of the stuff was done on credit card, so I have a whole bunch of fucking euro left. Um, they don't like big euros. Are the stupidest fucking money you ever saw because I mean it's just paper receipts, right? America has paper receipts. The Europeans have paper receipts, but the €100 note is this big, and the €50 note is that big, and the €20 note is that big, and the €10 note is that big, and the bills are physically smaller. It's the dumbest fucking thing that they don't have all the paper receipts the same size with different numbers on them. That's how America is, right? So all the bills are the same size. It's just they have different numbers: 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, right? In Europe, no. The €5 note is this big, and the €10 note is this big, and the €20 note is this big, and the €50 note. It's the stupidest fucking shit. You try to fucking take this stuff out, and the little ones start wanting to fly away. It's very annoying. So the Europeans are not smarter than us, even though I was told that growing up. Growing up as a youth, I was told that the Europeans were smarter than us. That is observably not true. Euro normies are normies like anyone else. The thing about that landscape, you're always walking up and down hills. The weather was like 85, 90 degrees every day and super dry. Like I would wake up with nosebleeds and stuff, like my nose, like it was super, super dry environment. And so you have to keep that in mind. But for me, the shoes I had were like bad fucking idea. My feet were just like soaked with sweat. And the issue with that is when you're walking up these super steep hills and walking down these super steep hills, is it really tears at the skin into your feet, and you could get blisters on your skin, like then they open up and bleed, and then you're fucked. And I'm like, well, I don't walk a lot. I drive everywhere. My feet are not as tough as they used to be. I'm like, shit, I got to do something. What I ended up doing is I went in, where was I? In Syntagma Square. Went to Syntagma Square and down this street that's like like Fifth Avenue for them. You know what I mean? And it's like a Irmu Street. And I went down till I found a shoe store and I bought a pair of sandals because I needed the skin of my feet to dry out so my feet could toughen up, which worked really good until 2 days later I got sunburned at the top of my fucking feet. I have the top of my feet are sunburned right now and it's clearing up, but the skin is at the itching phase. So whatever. I'm growing and learning. Me, I was never sandals guy. That's a fucking communist hippie stupid gay ass thing. But I broke down 3 days in the mean streets of Europe's oldest city, and I ended up buying sandals, which worked. Other than I didn't think I need to put sunblock on my feet. Things you learn only after doing them, right? So, but anyway, that mostly worked out pretty good. And then what else did I do? I went to. Oh no, wait. Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back to this one. There there were some crummy parts that and it wasn't all joy and happiness. There were black people. They allowed black people and Jews increase. I can't believe they do that. That there ought to be a law. But one of the tours I took, there were this 4 black people that as soon as the tour fucking started, they wanted to stop the fucking tour bus because there's 3 females and 1 male. They were claimed that the guy was sick or whatever, and he wanted like he needed air, and this was tour. It's like fucking 30 people in the tour bus, and the tour bus lady was young, and she was a little bit too sweet, and she didn't like they don't understand Hindus at all, These fucking they all had dreadlocks, they all wearing tie-dye shit like they're from fucking Bob Marleyville, even they're just straight up American fucking Hindus. They did not stop the bus. We stopped at Corinth. There's a canal there, and there was like a lot of Christian groups there because of the Corinthians. I guess they're on like a Bible tour, like places of the Bible, and they went to Corinth, the Corinth Canal, because the book of the Corinthians, whatever. So stopped there. And what did I do? I got back to the bus late. I was at the last one to get back at one point. And they're sitting in the back of the bus, of course, where they fucking belong. But they start fucking applauding. They're like, hey, you fucking made it. And I'm like the last one on the bus, and I'm walking back towards them. And I'm like, you fucking Negro motherfucker. I didn't say it out loud. But I'm like, you fucking motherfucker. Like, you fucking pieces of shit. Anyway, all they did at every stop is they would just get off the bus, go to wherever somebody was serving like a sugary fucking treats, and they would stuff themselves full of fucking sugar and do nothing. So this is a theater at the sanctuary of Epidaurus, whatever. And I just wanted to show like this steepness of the how steep those stairs are and how high up you are. And I climbed all the way to the top. And you could hear all those little people at the bottom. You could hear them talking. Like you can hear them talking like they're sitting right next to you. And that's pretty wild. But every day is Legs Day in Greece. Every fucking day is Legs Day. So keep that in mind if you go there. If you're just gonna go lay on the beach, you're just gonna go lay on the beach. But if you're gonna go to all these places that are like famous places, then you get ready to walk and take care of your feet. Think about what the temperature is going to be like and how you're going to do some hiking in advance. Also, at the base of that, at the base of that theater, there's they found the perfect spot for the acoustics, right? So there's like a big disc, like a marble disc with a cross in it, and the tour guides are just telling everyone like, "Oh, clap like this," and the people up there will hear you. So, and then, but a few people had guts. A few people were nervy, and they would sing a little bit, and they were singing different foreign songs. I don't know, some weirdo fucking songs, like a stanza or two of like their national anthem or something like that. And there were a bunch of people in the stands, and they would all applaud. So when I went down there before I left, I said, you know what, I'm going to stand on that spot. And what did I do? I did the standard Julius Caesar from Shakespeare. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears, for I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. And your voice projects like crazy up there. And it's not that, listen, I sit in front of a fucking camera and talk to strangers all the time. So the fact that I did that in front of a group of people, in that theater was not shocking to me, but the way your voice bounces back to you, the way the sound waves hit you of your own voice coming back like in waves. That was really strange to me. I was like taken aback. I didn't quite stutter, but I was like, I didn't expect that. What it sounds like acoustically to you as you're projecting your voice out is very different than you think. It's very bizarre. Almost like you're underwater or something, but it's super clear. So anyway, it was fun. But I was determined not to let the black people ruin my fucking day, and they didn't. Like I said, they just ended up fucking. They didn't go in the theater. They didn't do anything like that. It was too hot. They didn't want to walk. Every Negro I ever met in fucking like in New Jersey, they're always waiting for summer. Can't wait for summer. Can't wait for summer. Can't wait for summer. They all claim that they hate air conditioning because they don't like how it feels on their skin. And the hot weather comes and they don't go anywhere and they don't do anything. They just shovel fucking sugary fucking drinks and food into their fucking mouth and just fucking lay there. What a waste. But that was that. And then the rest of the time was good. I went to Mount Olympus. Where's the Mount? Again, I don't want to be like super fucking uh, holiday picks, but this was literally the first vacation I ever took in my life, and the only time I've ever been to the land of my ancestors. Which, by the way, I'm not one of those fucking people. I am a fucking New York guy till the end of time. Don't get me wrong. I look like them, blah 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 blah, but they're like all laid back. Europeans have zero edge to them. They're like Washington D.C. people. Like they're not in a rush. There's no sense of urgency. They're just whatever, just super laid back. And of course, you can imagine they've seen a million tourists. But this was a pretty. I thought this was a pretty decent shot on going up to Mount Olympus, which that was a train ride from Athens up to the countryside, which was a nice train ride. A lot of leg room. There was Wi-Fi in the train and shit, and it was all pretty cool. But I just happened to get off at the correct train stop by accident because somewhere up near Olympus, whatever the fuck, I can't remember what stop I was supposed to get off of, but it didn't have any fucking signs, and I just happened to ask somebody. I was like, "Oh, is this what's his name?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I had to fucking jump up and run off the fucking train because the train doesn't wait a whole lot of time at that station. And then so then anyway, and there's a spring uh, up on Mount Olympus where water comes out and feeds the town, and you could drink that water. So I scooped up a bunch of that water in my water bottle. By the way, in Athens, you'll be drinking water like a motherfucker, even in September. Um, it's like I said, it's super dry there. If you're going up around these historic sites or even walking around the Acropolis, there's no level ground. It's all fucking up or down, and the roads are fucking tilted left or right. Sidewalks are broken and shit. You're gonna be, like I said, every day is legs day. Every fucking day is legs day. Did not see a whole lot of lift bros there. A lot of dudes, like most of the people I saw that were fit were like conditioned fit, not like Mr. Olympia looking guys. There were a couple of people I saw, same tourist a few times, that were definitely on some kind of classical mission. A bunch of people were like, obviously that's a big part of the history. That's a big attraction there. So people want to go there and stand in the Roman Agora, or they want to stand here, they want to stand there, and they have, of course, like when you go to national parks or something, and there's some vista or some view. There's like that big weatherproof sign that's like 3 feet high that tells you what you're looking at. And of course, everything was in both in Greek and English. Um, and what the thing about Athens being small and everything being right on top of each other, you don't know that the first time you're there. And like I said, Google Maps fucking sucked beyond fucking belief. Like I cannot fucking hate on Google enough for how much that fucking failed. Um, Coming back from Delphi, there was this like Filipina chick that was like, she was thinking maybe, and I was thinking maybe, but then she was being a bitch and whatever. Um, she said, "Oh," I said, "Let's go have a drink." I said, "I want to go have a drink," and she was like, "Oh, I'll go with you." And she went to go to some place near where her hotel was, and she's using Google. I said, "Google's not working for me." I said, "It worked the first night. This is like it's not working anymore." She's like, "No, it works fine." And of course, wouldn't work for her. And I said, "See, it's not working." And she's like, "No, it works." And I'm like, "Okay, we're not where you said we were going. And I ended up, I just grabbed people, and I don't remember the name of the fucking place, but uh, I was like, the Puri Estiatorio, whatever the fuck the name of the place was. And the guy was like, Ido Konda, over there. I was like, okay. And I was like, come on. I mean, I can squeak out like 2 or 3 sentences, which is just enough to get me in trouble because they hear Greek and then they just come back like with a fucking tidal wave of fucking words I don't know. I only know like 75 words. But whatever. Like I can order food, I can get directions, I can ask how much is that, like the super basic shit. But beyond that, like I said, it's just enough for me to get in trouble because they hear that, and I have reasonable confidence saying that, and they assume that I am much more. I speak a lot more than I do, but I'll have to go hit the fucking tapes and brush up in the future. So a bunch of stuff happened here while I was away. While I was on my journey of growth and learning that I don't know how to fucking book hotels, um, learning a bunch of dumb stuff. What is this? Learning that, yeah, okay. And then the last day I was there, I took a ferry because if you don't go to an island when you're in Greece, apparently you have completely failed as a human being. So the last day I was there, I took a ferry to an island near Greece called Aegina Island, which is famous for growing pistachios. It's like an hour and 15-minute ferry ride. And I was chatting with this family from Australia, and they was like super world traveler types. So I got to Aegina Island where the ferry docks, and then I saw a sign that said rent a scooter, and there was supposed to be there was a Doric temple somewhere on the island. So I rented a scooter and I drove to the temple, and this is like the view from the temple. It's like a coffee shop, ice cream joint there, and I had the pistachio ice cream, which was made locally, which was, to be honest, it was ridiculously good pistachio ice cream. Now, I'm not really a pistachio ice cream guy, but that was pretty outstanding. So that's the view looking down there, and I was chatting with everybody was a couple there. The one sucky thing about being in Greece alone is that everybody's a fucking it's either entire families with little babies and grandma and shit or whatever, like the whole fucking family, or it's couples and you're not in a couple and you're like, oh, that fucking sucks. I really that hit me in the feels. Hit me in the feels that I was there by myself. Whatever. What are you gonna do? What can you do? There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do except rent the fucking scooter. Here's a picture of the little scooter. Of the little like 125cc fucking, I don't know what the fuck it was, Yamaha something or other. But it was actually pretty fun. I was just fucking little like zero power fucking bike that you could just nail the throttle, and I think it went like 40 miles an hour top speed maybe. So and the motor was screaming like like it's like you're doing fucking whatever, like you're doing a 24-hour of Le Mans. But so anyway, there it was me, happy with my little. I've ridden motorcycles now on 2 continents, so there's another accomplishment in my growth, in my journey of my whatever. But I'll tell you what, I like nobody knew what the fuck Bitcoin was. Nobody was interested in that. I was wearing a Bitcoin T-shirt. It didn't occur. Like the normies in Europe are just like the normies in America. They're completely oblivious. And I was not that I watched a lot of TV, but I was kind of watching and trying to get a sense of what's going on from these people and the people I was chatting with on these different tours and stuff on the ferry boat. And nobody sees hyperinflation. Nobody sees any of that shit. Like they don't even see inflation anymore. It's going to hit them all as a fucking surprise. And that's that. There's no waking these people up. There's no making it clear to them what they need to do. They believe in the paper receipts that their fucking governments issue, and they think it's all going to be fine. There was one dude. There was a New Zealand guy at Delphi with his wife, who was his wife was nice. I think his wife was ideologically simpatico with me, but this guy was like a liberal dude. And there's a thing that I got this from driving taxis years ago. There's non-Americans like Euros, or this guy was an Anzac, so he was a Kiwi. But they hate whatever Washington DC's foreign policy is, and they want to like yell at an American and to express their unhappiness with whatever the fuck Washington DC is doing, right? They don't like American hegemony over whatever the fuck it is. So they meet somebody like me, and then they're gonna like, oh, this is their chance. They're gonna unload. They're gonna fucking express their unhappiness about America to me, and I'm like, dude, you can't hate your government more than I hate my government. I like the people of America. I just hate the government of America. So, and this guy was they're mostly wimpy about it. They're not again. They're not super edgy. They're not high energy. They're not intense. You know what I mean? They're all like they're whatever. They're smooth. I have a guaranteed job. I don't work very hard. I'm gonna have a guaranteed retirement. Like they're just not. They're not edgy. They're not hard. They're just not. None of them. This particular guy was not, and he was a fucking sugar junkie too, man. Um, it was like one of those fucking. How did I run it? Oh yeah, we stopped at the Corinth Canal, right? So I'm like, all right, let me get another fucking iced espresso, called a Freddo espresso. Let me get another iced coffee and playing fucking Billy Goat going up and down these fucking hills. I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I up the calories a little bit because everybody loses 10 pounds when you go to Europe. You go to Europe, you eat like a pig and you lose 10 pounds. Not really true. But so I had a piece of cake, like a lemon cake called Ravani. But so I saw it was there and I'm behind this couple and he's trying to say he wants Coke Zero. And the woman behind the counter, she's like some fucking whatever, 50 something Greek woman. She knows what the words Coca-Cola means, but there's also 4 kinds of Coca-Cola. She doesn't know which one he wants. And he can't explain it because he has zero fucking Greek. And I'm like, so I was like, I'm like, listen, Sketo, ohizakari Sketo, like no sugar, plain, which she holds up the Coke Zero and he's like, yeah, that one. And then he turns around, oh, thanks, blah, 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 blah. We chat. I just get my cake and I'm going to go sit by myself. But he and his wife invite me over. And then so we sit there and we're talking. So I ate this cake, which is like super sugary. But since I'm going to be doing my fucking Billy Goat impression, climbing up these fucking hills in an hour, I'm not really worried about the excess sugar in my bloodstream. But this guy gobbles down the fucking sugar. Like he's drinking Diet Coke, but he's got like might as well just have a fucking pile of sugar in front of him. And then afterwards, at the lunch stop, we sat and had lunch together. And he wouldn't even finish his food, but he just fucking wanted more fucking sugar and baklava and ice cream and shit. So the guy was like a sugar junkie, and he had no fucking energy. He had one of those big cameras, but I'm pretty sure he didn't work for the FBI because he was from New Zealand. But had one of those mega super cameras. But he lacked the physicality, the athleticism to go up and down these fucking hills. And they try and smooth it out, like they try to make concrete walkways and shit. But it's still like the natural landscape there, and it requires you to fucking push your fucking drive your fucking ass up to the wherever the fucking the thing is and then come back down. So and the extreme angles on your joints, your fucking ankles, your knees, your hips, whatever. If you're weak with that, if those parts of your body are weak, you're gonna struggle with this a lot. And so that's the fucking plus of exercising and working out every day is if you have to go play Billy Goat in a foreign country, you could do it with just one piece of cake and a little bit and a little fucking espresso. That is why we lift every fucking day. We do some exercise every day. But listen, nothing changes in the meantime, right? A lot of stuff. How do we know things are going to crash? How do we know that all of this fun and games is going to end relatively soon? I don't know if I mentioned this. I was in the Hamptons 3-4 weeks ago, and Amazon. I delivered to Southampton Airport, and there was a warehouse being built nearby, and it was an Amazon warehouse, and I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, Amazon's building a warehouse out here. I wonder what the fucking real estate cost them. But and I'm sure they'll make money off of that because, of course, it's the Hamptons. But this is a news story from when was it? I didn't give the date, but it's Bloomberg. Amazon closes or abandons plans for dozens of U.S. warehouses, and I think I saw this like maybe right before I took off. Yeah, this was right before I left. And Amazon is opening supermarkets. Amazon's opening everything. But if they're slowing down or closing their warehouses and they have access to, they have, Jeff Bezos has more muscle than and more money than God. You know what I mean? He's the only one who can get the U.S. Post Office to deliver on Sundays. You know what I mean? And he has Amazon packages. He gets like a $1.50 discount on every fucking package from the U.S. government. It's nobody skims more fucking wealth off America than this guy that I'm aware of. And if their corporate expansion plans are slowing down, then it tells you that we're in for fucking a bad time. We're in for a really fucking bad time. And the reason why, what the fuck did I name this? Name the stream. I named the stream the Currency Act because a couple of weeks ago, again, before I left on my journey of personal growth and spiritual whatever the fuck, I mentioned that Ben Franklin stated that the goal for the American Revolution was that the money manipulators of Europe would not allow the colonists to have honest money. And what actually happened was King George, or whatever, King George, King Richard, whoever the fuck it was, actually insisted that the U.S. use English currency. Insisted that the only currency that America be allowed to use, the colonists use, was English currency that would be repaid to the Rothschilds at interest. So, and the founding fathers didn't want that, and that was the driving force of the revolution. It's not about your shitty fucking ideology, because your ideology sucks dick. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, you can't produce food or money. You can't produce energy or fucking money. Your ideology sucks. I mean, it really does. And these parasitical, banker class has sought to sink its fangs into the U.S. The first bank in the United States, and the second, and of course the third one is the Federal Reserve. And there's a whole history of this, but the trigger for the American Revolution was that the colonists could not have their own money, could not issue their own money, that they had to use money, English pounds, payable to the Bank of England, which was run by the Rothschilds, at interest. They would have to borrow money at interest and pay back at interest in order to conduct any sort of transact in any sort of business, and that started the shooting war. You know what I mean? And that's what starts shooting wars. Saddam Hussein trading oil for euros and not just dollars. Muammar Gaddafi having a gold-backed Libyan dinar to trade oil in. National Socialist Germany, issuing their own currency, and which was a zero-interest currency. John F. Kennedy issuing silver certificates that were, only a few billions of dollars worth of silver certificates, but the popularity of them caused him to catch a fucking bullet. Here's Woodrow Wilson, the president, who was president right after the creation of the Federal Reserve. Here is, here's what he wrote some time ago. Woodrow Wilson, obviously president 100 plus years ago. But they put this guy in a box because when he was professor at Princeton, he was banging some chick that wasn't his wife. They had the love letters, which they had intercepted. And they told him, if you don't give us $40,000 in cash, we're going to release these love letters. He didn't have the money. So they said, okay, well, here, a bunch of dudes from Wall Street, a bunch of bankers, imposed a whole bunch of conditions on him. And so he wrote this, why, 1919. I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country. A great industrial nation is now controlled by its system of credit. We are no longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men, the oligarchs. That the creation of the Federal Reserve, the third bank of the United States, was the ultimate nail in the coffin of actual democracy is completely glossed over by all these fucking dopey ass fucking ideologues. You waste your time fucking talking about shit that doesn't matter. What drives people to fucking act is money. You know what I mean? And even what's his name, Abraham Lincoln, when the South seceded from the North, when the Civil War, you know, England and France wanted to support the South because they saw opportunity to take over the entire United States. But the Rothschilds immediately came to Abraham Lincoln and said, "We'll finance your war efforts at 30% interest." That's, you know, I whatever, 4 weeks ago, I mentioned that the Jews used to charge the kings of England 40% interest. So, you know, whatever, they charge the president of the United States only 30% interest. They're like, hey, want to go shoot those Southern rebels with cannons? We'll loan you the money to buy the cannons. You just have to pay us back 30 points a week. Juice Fly Chai. I wonder where V. Hugh is. I don't know where V. Hugh is. Why do I hate the certain tribes so much? Because they have made dead slaves of the planet. You were born free. You were intended to be free. And they have turned the governments of the world into, or the people you vote for, into gulag guards. You know what I mean? They have enslaved humanity, and they skim everything of value off those who create value for themselves. And anyone who gets in their way, they kill. So, yeah, that's a pretty good reason to hate them. I mean, if someone stole all the value you ever created in life, and the value that your parents created and grandparents created, your children and grandchildren will create, and although I'm unlikely to have children or grandchildren, that's not very likely. Yeah, that would kind of generate some negative energy. You know what I mean? So don't say hate. I don't want to be a hater, because as you know, I've grown. I'm now a sophisticated European traveler, dude. Pinkies in the fucking air. You know, I've ordered food in foreign restaurants in foreign languages. Nobody's more sophisticated and civilized than I am. Okay, so I'm not the fucking loud, crude jerk off that I was 2 weeks ago. Now I'm an entirely different loud, crude jerk off. So okay, here's a Twitter account that's not Bitcoin dudes. Oh, why would you fucking go and do that? Just put the fucking thing up. Wall Street Silver, which is run by, it's like an English account that tells people to buy silver coins or something. Like they think like the dollar's going to collapse and everyone's going to trade silver coins or something like that. I think that's unlikely. But this is from September 18th, 2022, so just a couple of days ago. I think it's unlikely that we will be trading silver coins. And you could, I'm not saying you can't do it, but the likelihood that this is going to grow beyond anything other than a farmer's market, there is a very low likelihood. Right? There's a very low likelihood that trading in metal discs for money is going to work. The reason why we went to paper currencies is much faster, much easier. to verify that you're using the actual money. But what's he tweet? Those who control the money control everything. You have two little figures. One is a bankster, like a play on the word gangster, bankster, and then he's got a leash around a lying politician. Just like Woodrow Wilson confessed that he sold out his entire country. He was the single point of failure that could allow the U.S. to turn from a democracy to an oligarchy. And his personal weakness, that is to say, the fact that he was banging some chick who was not his wife. And when he got caught, instead of saying "fuck you, prove it," he collapsed. He said, "Oh, I don't have the money to pay you off. Please, what can we make a deal?" When you're alone in the room, with dudes who are going to put pressure against you, find out what you're really made of. And all these guys are all fucking weak. They're all fucking weak. Everyone, you would be surprised at how quickly your inner bitch comes out. It's very, very, very fucking hard to be alone in a fucking room when people are pressing you and tell them to go fuck themselves. That's harder than you think. You imagine you would do it, but you haven't been there yet. You have not been there yet. Luckily, there's something that has resilience. There's something where we're not actually in a room, and they can't do to us what they did to Gaddafi and what's his name, Saddam Hussein. And others who decided to issue state-issued money. By the way, Abraham Lincoln, rather than take the Rothschilds up on their deal of 30% interest to finance the American Civil War, he issued what was called greenbacks. America issued its own state-issued currency, the greenback, which was Abraham Lincoln's doing. And shortly thereafter, he caught a bullet in the fucking head. And the greenback vanished. And we went back to Rothschild issued money. So yeah, fun fact: if you look at history through the lens of money and murder that way, it has great explanatory power. Great explanatory power. This is from Bitcoin Magazine, 15 September 2022. Greenpeace, which we all know is a front organization for left-wing causes, which left-wing causes are a front organization for the Rothschilds. Greenpeace spent $1 million in the new Change the Code ads to intensify their attack on Bitcoin's POW, or proof of work. This was an attempt to get Bitcoin, to change the code of Bitcoin and to essentially take control of Bitcoin. They spent $1 million, got nowhere. Okay, spend $1 million more, boys. Spend 10 million more. It's very difficult when you have a truly decentralized system to convince people to go along with you. When you can get one guy alone in the room, like they got Woodrow Wilson alone in the room, and they said, "Here's proof that you're banging a chick that's not your wife, and if you don't fucking do what we tell you, we're going to expose you." That's easy enough to do, right? You can. James, my soul came from the clipper. The clipper, what? Like the nail clipper, like this, like a nail clipper? What clipper are you talking about? My soul came from a high holy place. Perhaps it does. Perhaps it does, Judas Flychai. I hope that it would. And however, you are not a member of the Rothschilds banking family or that dynasty, so probably relatively easy to be high and holy. Should you actually marry into that family, and I think that's unlikely, but it's not impossible, you will find your high holy place becomes a much more whatever, earthy a much more earthy and less holy place um, than 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 where you currently reside. It's very easy when there's no temptation, there's no there's no pressure on your beliefs. It's really fucking easy to be holy when you're sitting on a mountaintop. You know what I mean? It's when it's when you got a pocket full of money, you're drunk and lonely, and some hooker says, "Hey, baby, you want a date?" Like that's where the real test is. And guess what? Most dudes and females, and never mind females, most dudes don't pass that test. This is a big part of listen. This is a big part of what the right wing is. You know what I mean? Uh, this is Judas Fly Chai in a nutshell, a very real way, right? Judas Fly Chai, you know, thank you for changing my life, Pepe the Frog. And Pepe, he's got a couple of dumbbells in his hand. He's got his earbuds in. He's in his workout clothes. He's lifting. He's trying to live a healthy lifestyle. And he just says, "Listen, I'm just a frog, and you're a severely mentally ill person." And that this may be amongst the truest of right wing memes that there ever were. You imagine that you've connected with something that's profoundly changed your existence, but the truth is, you're just talking to a cartoon frog. You are just talking to a cartoon frog. So what else? I've been doing green chairs. No. This. Where is it? Oh, this one. Another engine that things are about to get really fucking bad economically. And listen, like COVID, whatever you think of COVID, you think it came from bats, you think it came from a super duper CIA lab, from the evil Chinese chopstick Americans, or chopstick Chinese, not chopstick Americans. Like all of that, you remember that complicated shit? You remember the fucking videos you watched, people falling on their face, and you bought into all that shit. It doesn't matter what the truth is anymore, right? Is COVID really just SARS version 2? Yes. Is it just like the flu? Yes. Does that fucking matter? No. It doesn't fucking matter. Only what can be imposed by the government and business on you, right? So this from the New York Times, this is like, this shows how bad things are. The housing market is going to crash so bad, they're just going to give houses to blacks and Hispanics. Like, basically, if you can pay your rent as a Negro or as a tortilla American, you can own a house. And this is going to try and save the banks. Like, this is how desperate they are. They're like, here's how we're going to save the banks. We're going to give free shit to basketball Americans and to tortilla Americans, and hope that the economy does not completely fucking crash. That's how bad it is. Now, I mentioned whatever, like months ago, that the Federal Reserve raised interest rates 0.5 and the S&P went up 2.5 points on the same day, and that's only happened twice before. Once in 1929 and once in 2020. And the stock market declined 70 to 90%. I looked it up before the show. The market is down 20% for the year. That's not terrible. It's not the end of the world. It's not that out of line. But September ends the third quarter. Big companies will have to report their earnings or lack thereof in October. The hope of the White House right now is to push shit off until after the elections, right? The White House is hoping that they can keep the economy from collapsing until November 5th. Like, they want to make it so that everybody votes Republican, then the economy crashes, and then the Democrats can say, oh, look, the economy crashed because you voted for these guys. But Wall Street's probably not going to go that way. like I said, September 30th, the third business quarter ends. Most big companies have to report within the first 30 days. And as they report disaster earnings, like FedEx has just warned, as this goes across the boards, people are going to dump stocks everywhere. Okay. The smart guys got out months ago. Everyone else is going to be left holding the bag. That woman, Ms. Karen Assad, welcome to the show. All souls come from the same place. Yes, if you have I suppose that's one way to look at it. What a soul does when he's here is up to the individual soul. Yes, it is. I suppose it is. I spent my time eating grilled octopus and pork and spending money in a foreign country, but I made people laugh, even weirdo Chinese people in foreign countries. But whatever you believe COVID was or wasn't, right? It drove policy and behavior worldwide. Whatever you think of the stock market, you say, I'm not in the stock market, I'm not a stocks guy, whatever. The perception is that is the economy. It's not true, but that's the perception. And if people believe that the economy is tanked because it's tanked, how will that drive behavior? And it'll get more and more extreme. Now, what's his name? Biden was mumbling some stupid nonsense. The extreme MAGA faction of Trump Republicanism is something, whatever. Is it projection? Yes, it's projection. And thinking about this and talking with Europeans, or the limited number of Europeans I've had in Greece recently, but they're normies just like American normies. I mean, they're a different flavor of normie, but they're still normies. What is likely to happen? The economy goes to shit, and then the left demands more, and they're going to tax everyone, everything more, and be more confiscatory to anyone who has wealth, and the state will use the emotion of the moment to drive deeper and deeper into taking as much wealth as they can from everyone. The 87,000 new IRS agents, that's not really true, but it does make a difference, to try and fund its fucking basic operations, police, fire, sanitation, which, as we all know, basketball Americans, and to a lesser degree, tortilla Americans, are the greatest stress on both the police and probably the health system. Being able to fund that is going to be increasingly more difficult. And when the Democratic Party becomes something else, it's not the Republicans going to, because they're literally 100% controlled opposition. When the Democratic Party becomes the DSA, the real DSA, like that's their straight up fucking Andrea Ocasio-Cortez is the conservative wing of that political movement, shit's going to get fucking ugly. And once people abandon their current set of ideas and start getting really desperate, like what's his name? Fucking DeSantis. DeSantis sends the fucking busload of 50 fucking illegals to Martha's Vineyard. And everyone's applauding. It's a political stunt. It's a total political stunt, right? His advisors told him to do it. It worked out really well for him. It's working so well for him that Trump, who knows he's fucking behind, gets up and starts making speeches about the death penalty. Like Trump is like trying to stay relevant because he thinks he wants to be president again. But DeSantis is an ambitious motherfucker. You know what I mean? And he's learning. He doesn't have the natural charm and gift of gab that Trump has, but he's learning. And he has some smart advisors behind him who want the White House. But these political stunts, whether you make the millionaires in Martha's Vineyard unhappy or not unhappy, it's all just bullshit, right? People are like, yeah, go get them. But it changes nothing. Like nothing's going to change. The border's not going to be closed. They're not going to shut off the welfare. It's just going to, all this stuff is going to keep going. And once fucking DeSantis becomes president, they're going to shift their focus over here, and it's going to keep moving people into the border every fucking day. Don't get too, like, if you want to enjoy the political stunt, the theater, it's theater. It's enjoy it for what it is if you find it entertaining. I don't particularly, but whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you do you. Yes, Mr. Assad. Hello. The flu is worse than COVID. Yeah, probably. I caught COVID and had a bit of leg pain and wanted to sleep. That's all. Do you have COVID? You know what? I'm just going to take a nap and then I'll get up and I'll cook something and clean the house and run around. That woman, Mrs. Karen Assad. By the way, I'm telling you, like, I don't know if you've been to Greece, but it's the most cat infested country I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen so many fucking the sickest fucking thing, and I don't know if I tweeted this or not. There's cats everywhere, and I tweeted this on Facebook, like, to my nieces and shit. Cats at the fucking ancient sites, cats on the streets of Athens, cats fucking like everywhere. Cats in the National Garden, cats in the Roman Agora, cats on top of cats hanging out with other cats, cats sleeping in Delphi, cats all over the place, fucking cats. Except the central Athens market where they have all the fish, like they have all the fishes and the fucking octopus and everything. I got pictures of it, but it doesn't make a difference. It's like you walk through this fucking, it's a building filled with fucking fish. You don't see one cat. And I'm like, I don't know what the secret is, how they keep the cats away from where the one place in Athens that smells like heroin to cats. How is that possible? That's the ultimate mystery of that country is, why is that place not full of cats? I don't know. That woman, Mediterranean people like cats, even though they don't take very good care of them. Some of them are pretty slick. I was at this that steak place I was at. I was there the second time, and there was a couple. There was a fat Greek dude and his wife. So he's feeding the cat a little bit, and I'm sitting there, and then the cat, he gets tired of feeding it, and the cat comes over to me, and I fed the cat a little bit. This was beef. And then him and his wife, fat wife, get on their scooter, and they ride off into the night. And this Chinese woman comes in with her white husband, who's like military haircut dude. So I can see her, but he's got his back to me. And the fucking cat, it's like a calico black and white cat, comes right back at the same spot he was where the fat Greek dude was. He's looking at the Chinese woman, and he's meowing. And she's saying something to her husband. I can't quite hear, right? And the husband's like, no, fuck that rat bastard. Like, you know, and she's like, oh, look at the cat. And he's like, no, not looking at the cat. I'm looking at the menu. I'm looking at the table. I have a laptop. And he's doing everybody's doing the food blogger thing in Greece. They're taking pictures of shit and I don't know, whatever videos, sending it out. And so the cat's sitting there. The cat's like, this is my spot. Here's where I beg. You're going to give me food. So sure as shit, the fucking woman breaks down and she gives some meat to the cat. And I said, hey, lady, don't do that. She looks at me. I said, that cat's a total scammer, you know? And she starts laughing. And even the husband starts laughing. I said, he was there at that table. He got some other couple. I said, and he ate half my dinner as it is. I drank like fucking half a kilo of wine at this point. I said, that cat just ate half my food. I said, he's scamming you, you know? And they're like, now they're fucking howling, fucking laughing, you know? And the cat's still sitting there like, come on, more protein for me. So the cats are, some of the cats in Greece are fucking hardcore fucking scammers. So you have to be prepared for that, you know? And I was yelling at the fuck. I was like, you're coming over to me because I'm a tourist. You know I'm fucking American, and you think I'm rich, so I'm going to give you food or whatever. I'm yelling at the cat, and it's like yelling at some cat in a fucking steakhouse like a fucking retard. But anyway, I had fun. I had a lot of fun there, and I would go back in a second. I still have hundreds of euros that are unspent that I have to go spend. But anyway, yeah, so it's a fun time. But I don't understand how there's cats all over that city, and even outside, like at Mount Olympus, cats. I saw cats fucking everywhere. But in the fucking central market of Athens, where there's hundreds of all kinds of fishes, like all I don't even know what the European fish are, like all kind of fish, octopus, crabs, blah blah blah. I think they have blue claw crabs there. I didn't even know they had them in Europe. I thought that was an American thing. I saw bushels of crabs, um, and I was like, really? I didn't even know they had them. But no cats there. So how are the cats? I don't know how they keep the cats away from the smell of the fish market. Um, that woman, my cat eats across the street and hangs out with the female cat who lives there all day, and he shows up here starving. Yeah, they're all like that. They're all like that. They're all scary. My mother used to raise Siamese cats in the 70s, and she used to sell them. She used to breed them and sell them. Siamese cats are the fucking loudest, most caterwauling. Like they scream to get out of the house. They scream to get into the fucking house. They're like the most vocal cats in the world. Not the modern Siamese cats, which look ugly. They look like just skin over bones. But the previous, like the 1970s version that looked like a normal cat. We used to have them. We've raised them. Like I said, my mom used to raise them. They were popular in the 70s. But yeah, the entire country. Egypt's supposed to be the cat country. I don't know what the per capita cat population of Egypt is. I'd like to go to Egypt to take a look and have some falafel. But there was a shit ton of them in Greece, which was funny. But yeah, the Euro normies, they don't listen. None of them see this coming. a lot of stray cats in Israel. Really, is that so? Because there was cat food everywhere. Like like Greece, even the kiosks on the street, you could buy beer and wine. Every convenience store, beer and wine, and even hard distilled spirits, ouzo, scotch, whatever. Like just in a convenience store, either in the little bottles or full size bottles or medium, like stuff we don't have in American bottles. Um, but cat food everywhere, and because I think tons of people just feed the cats all over the place. So it's fun, different culture. Like I said, I had a good time. Do I look like those people? Yeah. Am I one of those people? No, I'm really, 100%. I'm 100% not one of those people. I would be like almost hopping foot to foot, waiting for them to do shit. And I'm like, I'm in Europe. It's like Washington, D.C., but with more culture. You know what I mean? Like more, it's like, okay, be patient, you know. Egypt has the best falafel because they mix it with broad beans and chickpeas instead of just chickpeas. They also have a very good dish called kushari. I don't broad beans. Well, I don't even know what a broad bean is. Is that like just a big white bean? Or what is that? I know I used to get falafel from Egyptian dudes on the streets of Manhattan in the 1980s, and it was killer good. It was crazy good. They made it fresh right in front of you. Um, Drizzle with tahini, a little bit of hot sauce, lettuce, tomato, onions, or lettuce and tomato. Sorry, I can't remember if it was onions or not. Killer, ridiculously good. And I think it was like $2 at the time. I doubt maybe you could get falafel in Egypt today for $2, but I doubt you can get falafel anywhere in America for $2. Yeah, no, listen, I had fun. I would go back in a second. I want to go now I'm like travel junkie dude. I'm like, did I manage to just throw myself on an airplane, get through security without a fist fight? Somehow they let me leave the country without signing my passport. Well, then maybe sign on the way back in. I might not have told the entire truth when I came back into the U.S. and they said, "Do you have agricultural products in your duty-free bag?" And I said, "No, I do not." And that's if I told the cop that, it must have been true. And then the people who said, "Oh, sure, I have fucking agricultural shit in my luggage." Don't tell them that. They're gonna rip apart your fucking luggage. Don't just fucking leave the shit in a duty free bag and just fucking walk through. Like don't fucking And if they catch you, go, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize pistachio nuts grew on trees," or something like that. Like just make it up. Like, "Oh, I'm tired, I'm jet lagged." If they catch you, but they're not going to catch you if you're smart. Just what you do when you go into the customs line is look at the line that's going fastest. Look at their fucking customs officer who's like hung over or like doesn't want to be there today. I got tons of olive oil. You could buy. Well, what they didn't want was like they were selling like sausages and stuff like that in the duty free shop. Here's the one thing about fucking duty free that pissed me off. This was a big what in my growth and learning, and my spiritual journey, whatever. I'm in the duty free shop. I got all these fucking euros. I'm trying to get rid of this fucking euro. I'm like, fuck, I got too much money on me. I took too much money. And I bought a bottle of Ouzo from a brand. I'm not going to say what brand it was, but I was like, let me just buy a bottle of Ouzo for not that I can't get it here, but, and some English guy was like, "Oh, get that one. That's the best one." And so I take it off the shelf, and he has a bottle of it himself, but he also has a bottle of fucking Bombay Blue gin. And this is where I missed it because I was tired and whatever. And it's my first time buying duty free stuff. I'm like, don't ever listen to anyone who drinks gin. No one who drinks gin has good taste in anything. Like gin is fucking horrible. Alcohol, it's like horrible. Nobody likes it. You have to be an insane English person with a fucking death wish to drink that shit. Or some Indian wannabe. And this guy had a bottle of fucking Bombay Blue Sapphire gin or whatever. And this bottle of Ouzo. This Ouzo I have is like the worst Ouzo I ever drank. But fuck it. But I'll eventually finish it, but it'll be like the slowest bottle I ever drank. Don't listen to the English if they're gin drinkers, especially. What did I buy? I bought some stuff like gifts, like for my nieces and stuff, like olive oil soaps with like jasmine and rosemary, like just like girly stuff. Like I was trying to think like what's kind of girly-ish, like feminine, that's all that I did stuff like that, honey, like honey from Crete and shit like that, is that agricultural? No, that bee is not a farmer. It's just following its fucking genetic programming. What the fuck? I'm not telling you that when I see people like the customs, like women ripping through people's fucking suitcases because they said they bought agriculture shit. I'm like, no, I ain't got none of that. And they're like, okay, get the fuck out of here. So anyway, that was that. I don't. That may be a little bit clever, but yeah. All in all, for my first adventure overseas, it worked out pretty well. Like I said, I did everything I wanted. A couple things I fucked up. I didn't really, but it wasn't that bad. Like it just wasn't that bad. I could have done things better, but with no one to help me, not knowing, again, with limited language skills, just deciding, listen, I gotta go do this thing. It worked out really well. But now I would argue that I kind of have the trouble. I'm like, I want to see all the places I ever read about as a kid in the history books. I'm like trying to figure out how to make that happen. Like I want to go to Rome. I would go to Egypt. I want to stand in front of that colossal architecture. I want to see a bunch of stuff. So now I got to figure out how to fucking make that happen from now on. But with that, where are we? Pardon me. We are at 1 hour and 26 minutes. We've had stream snipers. We've had feds. We've had all kinds of stuff. I showed a bunch of boring holiday photos. They weren't totally boring. But I think there's more time. I think there's more time before hyperinflation hits than I previously imagined. I think uh, I expect it to come sooner. Maybe it's my innate sense of fucking drama and mistaking uh, me mistaking that my just because I thought of it right now that must be immediate. It may be further out than we think. A lot of what people currently consider acceptable political stuff has to get tossed overboard before the real hyperinflation kicks in. The good news is that puts Bitcoin on sale. If you're a Bitcoin person, if you're not a Bitcoin person, then primarily what you're thinking is that what's existing is going to get knocked over and a different group is going to come in with a different color piece of paper that you're going to use as money and everyone's going to buy into that. And perhaps they will. I don't. I think that that's unlikely. I think once people's faith is broken in governments, you look at all these Lebanese bank robbers. Whether half of them are sponsored by the CIA or not, I don't know. But we know Lebanon's been in financial turmoil for a while. But desperate people do crazy things, and that's you see that on social media a lot. When it starts happening in front of your face, I think a lot of people are not going to be ready for it, and most people are going to try solutions that have already failed. Uh, but you got to do what you got to do. Look, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of energy trying to convince people of my worldview. Like okay, we're going to trade silver coins and gold coins and stuff. I don't know how you're going to do that globally. I don't know how you're going to get a flat screen TV from South Korea with gold coins. Yeah, taking back their own deposits. I understand. I get that the banks. Yeah, I agree 100%. The banks robbed you. Trusted third parties are security holes. This is going to be a really hard fucking lesson for people to learn. A really, really, really hard lesson, and it's going to be learned slowly and really painfully. Honest to God, I wish everybody the best, but too many people need to learn the hard way. Like you can put everything in front of them and they're just not going to listen. They're going to go, nope, because the normies, like everyone, I've talked to a lot of Americans, they're like, no, the green paper receipts that we have are real money. I had some dude in fucking Greece tell me though, the American dollar is real money and the euro is not real money. I'm like, no, it's all fucking fake paper receipts, dude. You're missing the point. Just because the government says this is the American government, which has a big army and a lot of nuclear weapons, says this is money, and European governments who don't have such a big army and don't have as many nuclear weapons say this other thing is money. That doesn't, it's not, might does not make right. That's not the way it really works. But it's, they're just two different paper receipts. That's all it is, right? We're the ones who create value with the goods we produce, with the services we perform, and the medium of exchange, right? Whether that's electronic via a credit card or paper receipts or whatever. That's that the government blesses it with euros or dinar or dollars or rubles or whatever. Those are untrustworthy people who do not have your best interest at heart, and people are gonna that millions and billions of people are gonna learn this lesson the fucking hard way. There's nothing you can do about that. I think I have the right idea. That's why I do the things I do. That's why I say the things I say. And could I be wrong? Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm trying to look forward, not backwards. I'm trying to put my trust in something where you can't just shoot the guy in the back of the head or pop his melon while he's driving through Dallas, or you know what I mean. Like there's no one a decentralized method of value, really, really tough for them to stop. And and that's what I think is the best shot. Could I be wrong? Yeah, I could be wrong. But I think I'm less likely to be wrong than people who are looking at old tech like paper receipts or metal discs. At the end of the day, we're going to see who's right. We're going to see who's wrong. But I believe what I believe, and I know why I believe it. And I think other people are just sticking to what's comfortable because they don't know, they don't understand. Like the U.S. dollar has always been money. Was money before you were born. It's money every day you've been alive, and it will always be money. But that's not true. You know what I mean? That's you're viewing the world from just your own very selfish and very limited perspective. And by the time by the time you see the actual change, it's going to be a bit too late. In the meantime, if you're a Bitcoin person, or if you're not a Bitcoin person, you go, you know what? Let me grab some of that, stick it in my back pocket, just in case. You know, that might be a good idea. If you want to do the same with gold coins, you could do the same with gold coins. But trusting other people to save people who, even your blood family. I mean, listen, even blood family fights over money. Who's in the will, who's not in the will, when the patriarch or the matriarch is dying or dead, like who's in the will, like all of that's a very real thing that's been a subject of fiction and for hundreds of years. The Texas oil baron, what did the Queen Mother think about Meghan Markle, all of that stuff, right? That's still just as legit. Like how much the Queen Mother left Meghan Markle, that meme has been floating around social media. When the central figure that controls the wealth is about to pass away, who jockeys for a position and how and what they're willing to do is the cause of, like I said, a lot of drama, and it's been the basis for a lot of entertainment stories, right? And the reason why is because people can relate to that. So trusting a third party to safeguard your wealth is not a great idea, and hoping that your behavior has been correct enough so that someone will show you generosity or favor or whatever you think you're entitled to. Those are not great strategies. Okay, they're relatively easy, I suppose, but they're not terribly good strategies in the long run. And in the long run, controlling your own wealth and decide and being clear on what that is and why you're doing it is, I think, a better way. But different people disagree. People disagree with me, but I think we're further out from big change than I earlier thought. Like I thought it was going to happen really, really soon. I think there's still some years to go. Why? Because normies are still acting like normies. At the end of the day, I'm using them as the gauge, as my when normies start getting desperate and crazy, that's when we're close to the point where something's going to happen. And you're seeing it. You see it in Lebanon. You see it in Argentina, a few other places. But in the big rich countries, America, Canada, Western Europe, when it happens there, that's where the real pivot point's going to be. But there's still some time between now and then, which I would suggest you enjoy to the best of your ability, but prepare for the possibility that things can go to shit fairly quickly. Anyway, it's 96 minutes. Even with something to wet my whistle, my fucking voice is going out. Where's my red neck and the very white parts of me that are not red, and my sunburned feet. You missed the whole sunburned feet thing, Mrs. Assad. You missed the entire sunburned feet thing. You'll have to go back and look again. Rewind and see the beginning of the show. Anyway, all right, I'm going to call stream. Thank you, Juice Fly Chai, Persian Missing Guy, for showing up. Thank you, Karen Saad, for showing up in the chat. Everyone else, the stream snipers, the the hobos of the internet, the feds, who I'm sure monitored by leaving the country and returning. Listen, it's another week, and I want to say good night. And I'll talk to you guys again in the future, unless I do another journey of personal growth somewhere. That won't happen anytime soon. I need to recharge my bank account. Anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks for showing up.